Life has a way of leading us through places we never planned to go. Difficult places, hard places, places where the weight of the journey makes you question if you have the strength to keep moving. But hear me today, you don't get to quit in the middle just because it's hard. Hard places are not dead ends, they are passageways. They are the training grounds where endurance is built, where character is shaped, where faith is tested. And the truth is, you don't grow in comfort, you grow in challenge. Hard places are not dead ends, they are passageways. Too often we assume that when we encounter struggle, it means we've taken the wrong path or made a mistake. But the truth is, the hardest places in life are often the ones that lead us to where we're meant to be. They are not destinations, they are transitions. They are the bridges between where we were and where we are going. When we face obstacles, it's easy to want to turn back, to take an easier route, or to stop moving altogether. But if we do that, we miss the transformation that happens in the struggle. Think about the process of building strength in the gym. When you lift weights, you are actually creating small tears in your muscles. At first, this might sound like damage, like something is going wrong. But that's not the case at all. Those small tears heal, and as they do, your muscles grow back stronger. Without resistance, there is no growth. Without struggle, there is no strength. The same principle applies in life. The resistance you feel in hard places is not there to destroy you, it is there to build you. Many of the most successful people in history faced enormous hardship before they reached their breakthrough. They didn't avoid the struggle, they walked through it. They understood that difficulty was part of the process. If you are facing a challenge today, if you are walking through a season that feels unbearable, remind yourself that this is not the end. This is not where your story stops. You are in the middle of something, and what's ahead is greater than what's behind. One of the biggest mistakes people make when they hit hard places is to assume that because it's difficult, it must not be meant for them. That's a lie. The size of the challenge often matches the size of the calling. The greater the purpose, the greater the resistance. If the road ahead of you feels rough, it may be because you are stepping into something significant. Don't let the difficulty make you doubt yourself. Let it remind you that you are on the right track. You don't get to quit in the middle just because it's hard. You don't get to turn around because it's uncomfortable. Hard places are not the enemy, they are the way forward. And if you can push through them, if you can stay the course, you will come out on the other side stronger, wiser, and ready for the next level of your journey. You don't grow in comfort, you grow in challenge. Growth never happens when things are easy. It happens when you are stretched, tested, and pushed beyond what you thought you could handle. When life is comfortable, you stay the same. You keep the same mindset, the same habits, the same routines. But when you face challenges, when you encounter situations that force you to adapt, learn, and push through, that is when true growth begins. Think about a seed. If you place a seed on a table, it will never grow. Doesn't matter how much potential is inside that seed, it needs to be buried in the soil, pressed down, covered in darkness, and put under pressure before it can begin to sprout. The same principle applies to us. You might feel like you're in a dark place right now, like you're buried under pressure, uncertainty, or struggle. But what if this isn't the end? What if this is your planting season? What if the very challenge that feels like it's breaking you is actually positioning you for growth? Comfort keeps you stagnant. You may have big dreams, but if you're not willing to go through the process, you'll never see them come to life. Challenge forces you to step up, to develop resilience, to sharpen your skills. The discomfort you feel today is shaping you for what's coming next. Without adversity, you wouldn't develop the strength to handle greater opportunities, greater responsibility, or greater impact. Look at athletes. They don't become stronger by staying in their comfort zones. They push themselves to the limit. They go beyond what feels easy, and they train until they're uncomfortable, because that's the only way to improve. The same applies to life. If you always stay where it's comfortable, you'll never reach your full potential. The truth is, most people want growth, but they don't want discomfort. They want success, but they don't want struggle. They want results, but they don't want resistance. But you cannot have one without the other. Every person who has ever achieved something significant had to go through moments where they wanted to quit, where they doubted themselves, where they felt like the challenge was too big. But they kept going. They embraced the challenge instead of running from it. If you're in a hard place right now, don't fight the process. Lean into it. Understand that this discomfort isn't here to destroy you, it's here to develop you. Growth doesn't happen in ease, it happens in challenge. And if you embrace the challenge, you will come out stronger than you ever imagined. Struggles don't mean failure, they mean progress. Too often, people assume that when they face difficulties, it's a sign they're not capable, that they've made a mistake, or that they should give up. But struggle is not proof of failure. It's proof that you are in motion, that you are moving forward, that you are in the middle of something that is shaping you. No one achieves anything great without resistance. In fact, the very presence of struggle often means that growth and breakthrough are right around the corner. Think about climbing a mountain. As you ascend, the air gets thinner, your muscles ache, and every step feels heavier. But those challenges don't mean you're failing, they mean you're making progress. The higher you go, the tougher it gets. But what's at the top is worth the climb. If you stopped every time you felt resistance, you would never reach new heights. Struggle isn't a sign to quit, it's a sign that you're on the right path. The process of becoming stronger, wiser, and more capable isn't easy. Every great leader, every innovator, every person who has ever made a difference has had moments where they faced challenges so big that quitting seemed like the only option. But they didn't stop. They understood that struggle was part of the journey, not a signal to turn back. You have to shift your mindset. Instead of seeing struggle as a problem, start seeing it as proof that you are growing. Look at nature. A butterfly doesn't become strong by being helped out of its cocoon. If you cut the cocoon open thinking you're making it easier, the butterfly never develops the strength it needs to fly. It's the struggle to break free that prepares it for life. The same is true for you. If everything came easy, if you never had to fight through anything, you wouldn't develop the strength, wisdom, or resilience you need for what's ahead. Struggles don't define you. How you respond to them does. You can either let challenges make you bitter, or you can let them make you better. You can either let resistance push you down, or you can use it to rise higher. The truth is, struggle is part of progress. The people who achieve great things aren't the ones who never struggle. They are the ones who refuse to let struggle stop them. So don't be discouraged by difficulty. Don't mistake challenges for failure. Instead, recognize them for what they really are. Evidence that you are on your way forward. Pressure produces value. When we think about some of the most valuable things in the world, gold, diamonds, pearls, they all have one thing in common. They were formed under intense pressure. Gold must go through fire to be purified. Diamonds are created under extreme heat and pressure deep within the earth. Pearls form because an oyster endures irritation and discomfort over time. These things don't become valuable in ease. They become valuable through a process that tests and refines them. The same is true for you. The pressure you feel in hard places, it's not there to destroy you, it's there to develop you. Too often we resist pressure because it's uncomfortable. We want success without struggle, results without resistance, growth without hardship. But that's not how life works. Everything worthwhile comes through a refining process. If you want to be stronger, wiser, more capable, you have to be willing to endure the process that gets you there. The moments of pressure, the times when life feels overwhelming, when you're being stretched beyond your limits, are the moments that shape you the most. Think about an athlete training for a championship. They don't just wake up one day and perform at their best. They go through intense training. They push their bodies past what feels comfortable. They endure pressure from competition, from expectations, from within themselves. But they don't quit because they understand that pressure is what prepares them for the moment they've been working for. If they ran from it, they would never be ready. The same principle applies to your life. If you're feeling pressure right now, pressure to perform, to grow, to overcome an obstacle, it's not because you're failing, it's because you're being prepared for something greater. You're being refined, you're being strengthened in ways you don't even realize yet. But here's the key. Pressure only produces value if you let it. But here's the key. Pressure only produces value if you let it. Now, gold can't be refined if it refuses to go through the process. You have to be willing to stay in the process, to trust that what feels difficult now is not shaping you. Many people break under pressure because they don't see its purpose. They see it as punishment instead of preparation. But if you change your perspective, if you start seeing pressure as part of your transformation, you'll realize that it's not here to crush you, it's here to create something valuable in you. The weight you feel today is shaping you into the person you need to be for what's ahead. Keep going because the process is producing something far greater than you can see right now. Don't stop in the middle of the process. Too many people quit when things get hard, not realizing how close they are to their breakthrough. They start strong, full of excitement and energy, but when the journey gets difficult, when the results don't come fast enough, when the obstacles feel overwhelming, they give up. They assume that because it's tough, it's not meant to be. But the truth is, the middle is always the hardest part. It's the place where doubts creep in, where fatigue sets in, where you start questioning whether it's worth it. Imagine running a marathon. At the starting line, you feel energized, ready to go. At the finish line, you feel victorious, proud that you made it. But the middle, that's where most runners struggle. That's where the mind starts playing tricks, where exhaustion kicks in, where the temptation to stop is strongest. But the only way to get to the finish line is to push through the middle. If you stop now, you will never see how far you could have gone. The same is true in life. You may be in the middle of something right now, a dream you've been working on, a goal you've been pursuing, a challenge you've been facing. It's hard, it's exhausting, and you don't see the progress you hoped for. But just because you don't see the results yet doesn't mean they're not coming. Growth is often invisible at first. Seeds grow underground before they ever break through the surface. Muscles are built beneath the skin before the strength becomes obvious. The middle is where transformation happens. Think about great inventors, entrepreneurs, or athletes. The ones who succeeded weren't always the most talented or the smartest. They were the ones who refused to stop in the middle. Thomas Edison failed thousands of times before he created a working light bulb. If he had stopped in the middle, the world might still be in the dark. Michael Jordan was cut from his high school basketball team, but he didn't quit. He kept pushing through the middle, through the struggle, until he became one of the greatest players of all time. Most people give up too soon. They let frustration, disappointment, and delay convince them to walk away. But what if they were just one step away from a breakthrough? What if they were right on the edge of success and never knew it because they stopped in the middle? You don't have to be the fastest, the strongest, or the smartest. You just have to be the one who doesn't quit. Keep going even when it's hard, even when it doesn't make sense. The middle is not your final destination. It's just part of the journey. The hard place is actually pushing you forward. It may not feel like it now, but the very challenges you're facing are working for your good. When life becomes difficult, it's easy to assume that the struggle is holding you back, that it's delaying your progress or that it's stopping you from reaching your goals. But in reality, the hard place is not a setback, it's a set up. The pressure, the obstacles, the resistance, they are all pushing you towards something greater. Think about how airplanes take off. They don't rise because the wind is calm, they need resistance. The very force that seems like it's pushing against them is what gives them the lift they need to soar. Without resistance, they would never leave the ground. The same principle applies to your life. The hard place you're in right now isn't here to ground you, it's here to lift you. The struggle is strengthening you in ways you don't even realize yet. Look at history. Some of the greatest leaders, innovators, and world changers went through extreme hardship before they reached their purpose. Nelson Mandela endured years of imprisonment, but it prepared him to lead his country with wisdom and resilience. Oprah Winfrey faced rejection and adversity early in her career, but it shaped her into one of the most influential voices in the world. If they had given up in the hard place, they would have never stepped into their destiny. Most people run from difficulty because it's uncomfortable. They think that if something is hard, it must mean they're on the wrong path. But sometimes the hardest paths lead to the greatest destinations. When you face resistance, it doesn't mean you should stop. It means you're moving in the right direction. Growth never happens in comfort. Diamonds don't form without pressure. Muscles don't grow without resistance. Strength isn't built without struggle. Think about a slingshot. Before it launches forward, it has to be pulled back. The more tension it faces, the farther it flies. Your struggles may feel like they're pulling you back, but in reality, they are setting you up for something greater. What feels like a delay is actually preparation. What seems like a setback is actually acceleration. When you shift your mindset and start seeing hard places as stepping stones rather than obstacles, everything changes. You stop dreading the struggle and start embracing it as part of the process. The hard place is not here to stop you, it's here to launch you forward. Keep pushing, keep believing, and watch how the very thing you thought was holding you back becomes the thing that propels you into your purpose.